One of the most annoying things when buying lights is if you look at all the listings on B&H or whatever, you'll often find that whether it's a $50 light or a $200 light, the specs are often very, very close, right? It'll say TLC is 95 plus, the output will be awfully similar, and a lot of the stuff will be similar. And I'm sure most of us might be pretty dang tempted by the thing that's like half the price. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you the difference in one case, but I think it's kind of like a decently universal truth where hopefully you see that the differences are beyond the specs, and it's pretty annoying, but I think it's going to be helpful, so let's get into it. So yeah, recently I've been falling a little bit in love with tube lights. This is lit with a tube light. They're just awesome. Very useful, practical fixtures, but that's not what this is about. I wanted a 1 foot fixture in particular, and this Nanlite here is only, I think it was like literally $60 US, whereas this bad boy, this is the Aputure MT Pro, this is about $200. So more than double. And so you gotta think like, gee, how bad is this thing? It can't be that bad, right? Well, it's not that bad, but if this bugs you, it's gonna be a deal breaker. So I could spend a lot of time with words, but I think it's easier if I just show you. Both of these fixtures are set to 3200 Kelvin, so exact same Kelvin, exact same green magenta tint, at least in the menu settings. So this is our Aputure. Looks pretty good, right? Like, no issues. I think we're fine. Obviously, I wouldn't use it like this, but I'm just... Anyway, so as you can see, I think it looks fine, right? Now, same settings. This is the Nanlite Pavotube II 6C. Holy Jesus, dude, like, I don't know if you can tell, I hope you can tell. That doesn't look like 3200 Kelvin to me. So once again, these are our two lights. The main issue between these two lights is not color temperature. You could play around. Here's 2800, in case you're wondering. Still wacky, right? We're clearly not talking about color temperature, something else is going on. And what we're talking about is tint. So tint is nothing new. What it means is, in case you aren't aware, tint is going from green to magenta. I'm gonna use the Aputure for this. See how this looks really green now? It actually looks kind of sick. Like, this is a cool look if you want to do like a bathroom, like a grungy bathroom or something like that. You know, put these overhead, right? Like, look at that. Grotesque, but it's cool. It's cool grotesque. Anyways, so that's an example. You can go the other way. This is now magenta, so it's more like purpley as opposed to green. And as you can see, now we're actually, that might look awfully similar to this. So the main problem with this light, and with a lot of your cheaper lights, is that the green magenta is going to be completely wacky, and even if they let you adjust it, watch this. So right now, green magenta is set to 0, okay? I'm going to now set it to, actually, I'm going to turn this off again. I'm going to now, one button click, I'm going to set this to +1. Holy smokes, dude. Do you see that? That's crazy. We're in Matrix now or something. Like, that's crazy. Anyways, it's totally wild. So I'll just go back. So hyper magenta and hyper green. So basically, the settings for the green magenta are clearly far too coarse, right? It needs to be like that. It's a very minor adjustment. And now, by the way, if you want to get real nerdy, what we're talking about here, it's called, I don't even remember the name, but it's like Plancane curve. I can barely pronounce the word. But more or less, there's a curve of what our cameras are set for and a bunch of other stuff that basically 3200 Kelvin is supposed to have a certain balance between green and magenta. And I'll send you a picture of this or something. Gaffer and Gear talks about this, if you should watch that channel. But anyways, this light is clearly super off that curve. So moral of the story is, the colors on this thing are totally off, and I would just say, like, kind of incorrectable, at least in camera. I'll show you some other examples, by the way. Okay, so I just did a little comparison for you. As you can hopefully see, and hopefully my autofocus doesn't die, that is... Well, all three of these fixtures are set to 3200 Kelvin. That one is the Pavotube, as you might have guessed. And anyway, point being is there a little bit of a color difference between the MT Pro and the 15X? Yeah, like, there is, but I would say it's in the same, like, wheelhouse. Like, you know what I mean? It's in the same kind of ballpark. You're not going to be confused by it. Whereas, unfortunately, with that thing there, oh my god, with the Pavotube 6C, I mean, this is totally up to you, right? Like, it's up to you to decide if this is a problem or not, right? But for me, I would say that it's too different. It just looks wrong. Now it is worth pointing out you can correct tint in post, but boy does it get complicated, and why would you want to add more complication to your life? Like typically when I'm filming, it's true, there's usually fixtures in the environment that you can't control, and you try to block them out and stuff, but sometimes you can't. And so those you just kind of accept, right? It's just part of the game. Ideally, all the fixtures you bring to a set, they are pretty good, meaning you're not adding to your plate in terms of like post-production, like color correction garbage you got to do. Because like, especially if we're talking about like if a light with this tint on it hit my face, but also a relatively normal fixture, to correct the side that has the magenta tint, you could do it obviously, and you're gonna have to do some fading and stuff, like blending. But like, boy, that's gonna be really annoying to correct. And even worse is with products. There's so many angles and stuff. Anyway, I don't know, I don't love it. I really wanted to like the Pavotube 6C because I made it so much cheaper. And also my OCD, right? I want, ideally, all my tubes are the same brand. But in this case, this thing just really, that's a deal breaker to me. Hopefully I've proven my point here that basically, just be careful with the specs that you read online because they definitely will not tell you the entire picture, and there's almost always more going on than meets the eye. And yeah, definitely make sure that you do a little bit of testing before you commit to a light. Compare it to your other fixtures and see how well do they match when you set the color temp to be the same, because I think this genuinely could mess you up on a production. Anywho, I think that has done it. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.